Well, life goes on in the world of DeFi. Despite wading through the endless rugs and fails, I must trudge forward and stay strong and just get through to the next bull run, really, where anything could happen. Is this the end of my DeFi life? Absolutely not. This is just the beginning, as we are all so early in this space, but it has been quite the learning experience. That is for sure. But for now, it really is no joke that Elephant Money is the only DeFi ROI project with any kind of credibility still standing. Now, in full disclosure, and as stated by those behind the scenes of the protocol Elephant Money, it is just one big financial experiment, and should be noted that their contract was exploited early on last year. Most importantly though, they have shown resilience and bounced back from early trouble, so it means we have ourselves a strong and honest team behind this DeFi protocol, and that cannot be understated by any means considering the landscape of this space. In my opinion, Elephant Money is a great example of how a future bank could operate on the blockchain and benefit all people, not just the rich and privileged. My personal belief is that the blockchain and DeFi is the future of money. It may not be the exact dynamic we see in Elephant Money futures, but it will be something very similar in my opinion. Despite all these hardships we've seen lately in DeFi, there is no reason why we can't build something that benefits all participants financially, as opposed to traditional finance that only benefits the elite, the politicians and the bank shareholders directly, while we, the majority of the population, struggle to find ways to make ends meet. The crypto, blockchain and DeFi revolution is going to change the world, break down borders and bring back financial balance across the populations. It is a matter of when, not if, in my opinion. Today we're going to explore the idea of early retirement and how we can achieve that with modern financial technologies like crypto, specifically today, the innovative Elephant Money protocol and the futures contract. Early retirement isn't just a dream, it's a practical and achievable goal with the right strategies. It isn't just about leaving the workforce early, it's about gaining freedom and reclaiming your time. Unlock the potential for fulfilling hobbies, travel and spending time with loved ones. Everyone has their unique motivations for desiring early retirement. It could be escaping the rat race, pursuing a passion, or securing a comfortable and stress-free life. Planning your retirement budget is crucial, and I'll provide you some information on how you can calculate what that number might be for you. Then we will look at my Elephant Money Futures Calculator that will help you determine a strategy to achieve your retirement budget. Now do remember that this channel is only intended for entertainment purposes and should not be considered financial advice. I'm merely documenting my experiences tackling this new and innovative technology in DeFi, and should do more research and reach your own conclusions about investing in anything I discuss on this channel. Now, what is Elephant Money Futures? Let's break it down real quick for anyone new to the project. For anyone that is familiar with the Elephant Money and Futures contract, you can skip ahead to the retirement budgeting chapter in this video linked below. While there are many aspects to Elephant Money, today I want to focus on the futures contract, which is probably the best option in my opinion for any new investors, not financial advice of course. Futures works by depositing BUSD into a smart contract. Think of it as the same way you might deposit a paycheck into your bank account. Only this is done on the blockchain through a crypto wallet like MetaMask. The difference is Elephant Money Futures provides its customers with 0.5 interest per day. That's right, you heard me correctly. Where most banks you will likely get 1% per year and pay endless admin fees, which means you actually lose money in the long term. Let's be honest. How is this 0.5% per day sustainable, you might ask? And rightly so, you should ask. Well, let's have a look at how this smart contract works for futures. The minimum deposit is $200 BUSD into futures. Once you deposit into the futures contract, your deposit is locked and cannot be withdrawn. The interest you earn from that deposit is what you can claim and withdraw. There are some key factors though that need to be explained. If you withdraw any interest, it comes directly out of your deposited balance. So the interest you earned and claimed is not over and above your deposit, but a part of your deposit. Only when you make fresh deposit, a minimum of $200, will your interest earned be added to your balance. Those are very key factors to remember, which also helps maintain sustainability for the contract. The other key factors for the contract are laid out in this detailed list here. Without going into too much detail about the rest of the protocol, the majority of the BUSD, 90%, is used to buy back Elephant token, while 10% of the BUSD is used as a buffer pool to pay the withdrawals on interest earned. So essentially, Elephant Futures is using funds the same way a bank might do to leverage the deposited funds. The difference is a bank uses our deposits to the benefit of banks and their direct shareholders only, and not the liquidity providers, meaning us. Whereas Elephant Money does it to the benefit of everybody involved with the protocol. Like I said earlier, this is the way forward for our financial future, allowing us to take control of our finances and to remove ourselves from the generational scam that our traditional financial system has become. There is a big difference there where all investors benefit from the buyback of the Elephant token, keeping everything as sustainable as possible. And if you're also an investor in Elephant token, then it is a win-win on both investments as the token prices trends up and to the right. Now that we have a good understanding of the Elephant Money futures contract, let's dive into determining a retirement budget on NUMBEO and then look at the futures calculator to find the best strategy to meet that number. Okay guys, so this is NUMBEO. Now this is a website that I use to determine what sort of budget you would require to live in a certain location anywhere in the world. Literally have any location in the world where you can look at the living costs for your city and find out what the costs are in your city. So what I'm going to do with NUMBEO is I'm going to figure out what my particular budget is for living where I live and what I would require to have per month in order to retire or win back my time as opposed to working in a day job or working multiple sources of incomes. So the link to NUMBEO is in the description below, so make sure you check out NUMBEO for yourself and where you live in the world or where you desire to live. Maybe you're in America and you're tired of the crypto problems with regulations and whatnot, so you want to go somewhere else, and I suggest, not advice of course, but Southeast Asia is a very, very good location in my opinion, which is where I'm located. So the best thing to do here is to click on cost of living and go to cost of living estimator. And that will take you to a page where you can select a city of your choice where you would like to move to or where you currently live to figure out your budget. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a city in Indonesia, because I live in Indonesia, that's closer to my kind of city where I live. I don't actually live in the main cities, so the actual location where I live is not in NUMBEO, but where something that is about the same size of the city is called Bandar Lampung in Indonesia. So we're going to have a look at Bandar Lampung, but what it's telling us here is they need more contributors for Bandar Lampung to increase the data quality. So the quality of this data might not be right. So if you get something similar to this when you're doing your research, fall back on one of the major cities in your country or in your state or wherever you live, and that would be easier to attain a more accurate evaluation of your budget. But for me, I've checked out this particular location and it seems very, very similar to the city that I live in. So all you need to do here is select your current circumstances. So obviously I'm going to use the currency of USD. It's more the most common currency in stablecoins. Obviously stablecoins BUSD, so we need to work in USD. Members of your household, 2 members. So I'm married and our kids have left home, so that's fantastic. So we don't have any costs in relation to children that are living with us or requiring educational costs or anything like that. So eating lunch or dinner in restaurants, maybe 30% of the time, probably boost that up to 40% of the time. We eat a lot, delivery and takeout and whatnot. When eating in restaurants, you're choosing the most expensive. Are you choosing an expensive restaurant? Probably 40% of the time. Drinking coffee outside of your home, I would say low to moderate, so I'm going to keep that as moderate. Going out, nightlife, really we don't do that very often, so very low. Smoking, we don't smoke. Alcohol is low. Eating at home, we're eating mostly Asian food, being in Indonesia, so now you can make these choices based on your situation. You might have a family of 4, you might have a small child, you might have other expenses, and this is the idea of going through and setting up these details to suit your circumstances and choosing your actual location where you live to try and get the best budget for you. So taking taxis, yeah, we do probably take 1 trip a week. Paying for public transport, yeah, we pay for taxis and we pay for other public transport. So I'm going to leave that as monthly all members. No sports memberships. Vacation and travel, yeah, once per year. Buying clothing and shoes, probably moderate, I would say. No, I'd say low. Rent, no. It depends on your situation. You might own a house that you pay mortgage on, or you might be renting an apartment or a house somewhere. So make sure you choose the one that's more suitable to you. Our mortgage is probably a 3-bedroom house. So it's not really an apartment, but we have a 3-bedroom house that we're paying mortgage on. So I'm going to choose that first and see how that comes out in the stats below. Number of children going to kindergarten, 0. Number of children going to private school, 0. Again, you need to choose what suits your circumstances. And then we're going to submit to recalculate. So this is working out the budget for my circumstances in this particular city in Indonesia. Like I said earlier, the city is probably the same level or size as the city that I do live in right now. So here we go. This is your monthly budget. Restaurants, $287. Going out, $10. Cigarettes, $0. Food at home, $160. Drinks at home, $20. Car and gasoline, $318. Yeah, I guess it's about right. Public transport. See, this is where the data doesn't have enough data, but public transport is really not a significant number. So leisure $70, utilities $80, clothing and shoes, rent and mortgage. So there we don't have the details for the rent and mortgage. So it's quite a substantial one. Childcare, nothing there. Goods and services. So there's a lot of question marks there, especially for the rent and mortgage. So that's quite a big one. The overall estimate monthly spending. Our estimator doesn't include insurance, health-related expenses, parking fees, or domestic help. It doesn't take into calculations income tax. So there you have it. There, not enough data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fall back. So when you get into a situation like this, you can fall back to another city. What I will do is I will actually select Jakarta, because I know that Jakarta, they have the data for Jakarta. But I know that Jakarta is the biggest city in Indonesia, the capital of Indonesia. Whatever this calculation comes to in regards to budget and living in Jakarta, I can always pretty much halve that compared to where I'm currently living in Indonesia. So we're going to keep all those details the same, and that all just remembers all those details that I selected earlier. And now we have our budget. $545 for restaurants, $17 for going out, cigarettes nothing, food at home $205, drinks $20, car, gasoline $328, public transport $50, leisure and sports membership $70, utilities $105, clothing and shoes $24. So rent, mortgage, 3-bedroom house is $1,691. Now I know this is well above what we currently pay for our mortgage. So what I can do here is I can actually change this to a 1-bedroom, because that would be more closer to the cost of what I pay in my current city. So I'm just going to submit and recalculate that, and we'll come back down here to mortgage and rent. Rent is now $845, which is much closer to what we currently pay. Other goods and services, $117. So here's the monthly spending for Jakarta. Now this is, again, like I said, this is for Jakarta. So this is $2,330 for Jakarta only. So let's take into the fact that I live in a much smaller city than Jakarta. So we could probably honestly easily say that my budget should be anywhere around or below $2,000 USD per month, which is pretty amazing considering other places around the world. So I'm going to say my budget in my city would be about $2,000 per month. And then what I like to do, obviously this doesn't include health-related expenses, parking fees, domestic help. It doesn't take into calculations income tax. So there's a lot of other factors on top of this budget, this estimation here. So what I normally like to do is I take about between 30 and 50% of the budget, and I add 30 to 50% on top of that budget. So if my budget was $2,000 per month according to this, then to try and make things a little bit more comfortable in terms of budget, we add 50% on top of that. So 50% of $2,000 is $1,000. So then we have a $3,000 per month budget for living expenses and anything that might be out of the ordinary, like health related expenses, paying for taxes or whatever that might be. So always add on a buffer of 30 to 50% onto your budget to try and take care of the unexpected expenses that you might have to take care of. So for me personally, my budget is $3,000 per month. Your budget could be a lot higher depending on where you live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you right now. If I change my city, I keep these things exactly the same, these settings exactly the same. And if I change my city to, let's say, Dallas, Texas. Let's go to Dallas and let's find out what my budget would be if I lived in Dallas in Texas. So all these settings have remained the same, and now my budget, my monthly budget, is at $5,242. So that's more than double what my estimate was in my previous city, the city of Jakarta. So we're going to take half, maybe 30% of $5,242. So let's take about $2,000. So let's add about $2,000 or maybe $1,800. Make this an even $7,000 for a comfortable budget in Dallas, Texas. And this is just for me and my wife, 2 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment with a mortgage on 1-bedroom apartment. So I can't imagine what the price would be for a family of 3 or 4 people living in a 3-bedroom house. I guess that's up to you guys to look into your own circumstances and decide what your budget would be. But I would give myself $7,000 a month budget for living in Dallas, Texas, just to take care of things, to be a bit more comfortable. And like I said earlier in the intro, always make sure you have multiple revenue streams, just in case 1 or 2 of your revenue streams does dry up for some reason. So aim for about $7,000. Let's do one more example. Let's go to a city in Europe. So let's go to Munich in Germany. So let's jump over to Germany. The same settings again, 2 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment with a mortgage. And the monthly budget for that is $6,248. That's US dollars, not in euros. So you have to do that conversion over here. So we can change this to euro here. Do that now. So now we have it in euro, 5,922 euros. So again, I would probably add about 2.5 grand on top of that to make it about 8 grand or more, to be a bit more comfortable, to be able to pay for unexpected things that might pop up. You never know, with health related expenses and tax related expenses. Make that about 8,000 euro just to cover yourself comfortably and to be able to live a bit more comfortably. So there we have 3 different examples. One in Texas, which is about 7,500 budget, I would budget for. Munich in Germany, about 8,000 to cover expenses or budget in Munich. And then in my particular city was Jakarta, and we kind of came up with the theory that would be, because I don't live in Jakarta, I live in a smaller city, 3,000 USD would make me extremely comfortable. And I'm telling you, extremely comfortable where I live right now. 3,000 USD is well and truly more than enough that I need to live in my city. So with those numbers, let's jump over to the Elephant Futures calculator and figure out how we're going to do that, and figure out how we're going to reach those target numbers with our budget. So this is the Elephant Money Retirement Plan calculator for the Elephant Money Futures contract, and the link to this calculator is in the description of this video. It is Google Sheets, so you'll need to make a copy of this Google Sheet in order to edit for yourself. Now, when you do make a copy of this Google Sheet, you'll notice that there is yellow coloring on some of these areas. The yellow coloring is where you need to edit or make your plans, make your strategy. Everything outside of the yellow boxes, if you like, is not needed to be edited, just the yellow sections. So you need to make your strategy from these sections here. Before we get into details about the calculator, we need to talk about this strategy that I'm going to use. That is the underlying method for this calculator. The idea is to let your interest grow for a longer period than the time that you claim. So we're going to use a strategy which is a 21-day interest period and then a 7-day claim period. So we're going to let our balance interest grow for 21 days, and then we're going to do a fresh deposit, because when you do a fresh deposit, that is what adds your interest to your actual locked balance. So after that 21 days, we're going to have a new balance of that extra fresh deposit, including the interest that we've now locked into our balance. And after that 21 days, we're going to then wait 7 days and let the interest grow for 7 days, and then we're going to claim that interest. So the idea behind this strategy is to allow your balance to grow than what you're taking out of the balance. If you compound your interest over a longer period than you claim from balance, then your balance is naturally going to grow. So I found the 21-day interest period and the 7-day claim period to be pretty good, but you'll see in this calculator that you can choose periods up to you, whether you want to do different variations of that. They all fall within that 28-day period, just for ease. So it's up to you whether you choose 21-day interest, 24-day interest, or even shorter period of interest. But always make sure that your compounding period is longer than your claiming period in order to keep growing that balance of BUSD in your account. So it's important to understand that particular strategy, that is the underlying strategy of this calculator. Now, the Elephant Money Retirement Plan calculator works over 48 months, which is 4 years. Let's be real, guys. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not a get-rich-quick plan. This is a plan to retire for the future. So we can do this over a period of 4 years and make a budget that will achieve the results that are required in your city according to your circumstances. Right down here, we've got the monthly retirement budget, which I put down $3,000 for me in my city. Again, go to NUMBEO and figure out how much it will cost you depending on where you live and your circumstances, or where you wish to move to and your circumstances, in order to find out what budget suits you. Like I said, $3,000 is perfect for me. It's very, very comfortable where I live. So what we need to do is we need to work out a 4-year plan on how to attain $3,000 a month in passive income from Elephant futures. So we have 0 to 24 months the first 2 years, and then we have 24 to 48 months the second 2 years. So we've got 4 years to figure this out. And here we have an initial deposit, the interest period, and the claim period. So whatever period you put in here, the claim period will minus from 28 days. So the interest and claim period is 28 days, which works out to be about 26 periods during 24 months. For 28 days, what you're going to do is you're going to earn interest, and you're going to deposit a certain amount of money to claim that interest and put it into your account. And then for the next claim period, which is automatically 7 days, you're going to claim that interest over 7 days as profit. And then when you claim that profit, you're going to put 50% back into BUSD futures, and then you're going to claim 50% of that claim for profit. So the calculator is very simple. All you need to do is put in an initial deposit, decide how many days you wish to earn interest and how many days you wish to claim. I've done a few tests, and I think 21 days of interest is good, and 7 days of claim is also pretty good over that 28-day period. But you can do what you like. You can put 24 days, and that'll automatically be 4 days of claiming. You're going to earn less in profits over that time, but your balance is going to increase more quickly. So decide what you want to do some tests the first 2 years. Now treat the first 2 years like you're living on quite the budget. Maybe eat a lot of noodles, drink a lot of tea, something like that. Save as much money as you can. Try not to take too much profit in the first 2 years to try and build up your balance as quickly as you can. I'm experimenting with $1,000. 21 days interest, and after that 21 days you put in a fresh deposit of here $400 into the BUSD futures contract. Now that $400 will automatically claim your interest and put it back into the balance along with that $400. And then after the next 7 days, once you claim after 7 days, like I said earlier, you will split the money, 50% to reinvest back into futures and 50% to go into your pocket for profit. Now you can do, again, whatever profit or reinvest you want. You can do 75% profit and 25% reinvest if you want. But I found 50-50 pretty good, so that's up to you entirely. Now what will happen is the calculator, which does all these calculations in the background, will tell you the amount of fresh capital that you've put in, which is $5,346 over 2 years, the amount of profits you've reinvested, which is $5,833, and the amount of realized gains, which is the profit you've been able to take in and help you live during that 2 years, $5,833 over 2 years, because that was 50-50, right? So if we change that to 75, then obviously your profit's going to be a lot higher, realized gains 8,000, and then reinvested profits 2,900. So we'll change that back to 50-50 for now. Then down here further we've got balance growth. So from $1,000 your balance has grown to $30,000 over 2 years. So it's 28.25x. Your end monthly interest is $4,657 if you didn't claim or reinvest. So if you just left it and then you were earning interest on your balance of $30,000, it's $4,657. Total ROI currently is 90%. So over that 2 years, you've invested $1,000. Your fresh capital, total fresh capital is $5,346. So you've made a 90% return on your investment by the realized gains. And you've also built your balance over time to $30,000 and $4,657 per month in just that 2 years. So a $1,000 deposit, 21-day interest, 7-day claim, $400 reinvest. So I've made $400 to get my balance up as high as I can for the first 2 years. 50% profit and 50% reinvest, and that is the first 2 years. So after 2 years, we go to the 24 to 48 month column. Our starting balance is $30,622, which is what we ended with at the end of the first 2 years. Of course, we're earning 0.5% per day. Now, the calculator does have the adaptive rates built in to this calculator. So if you're earning quite a hefty amount in balance and compounding, then the adaptive rates will certainly kick in over time, over these 4 years, depending on how much you've claimed and how much you've redeposited. The adaptive rates are already baked into this calculator. So they will work naturally if you have quite a big balance and if you're actually compounding quite a lot. As you grow higher in your balance and as you're compounding a lot more, then your adaptive rates will reduce down to create more sustainability, like 0.045%, so 0.45% per day, 0.42, so on and so forth. Your adaptive rates will come down. So that is all built into the calculator. Again, for the next 2 years, we have the 21/7 interest period, 21 days, claim period 7 days, and then fresh deposits, the minimum $200 for the next 2 years. And then again, I've got split 50% profit and 50% reinvest. So the total fresh capital you notice here is only $200. So I've only added extra $200 to the fresh capital over this entire 2-year period between 24 and 48 months. Now, how is that possible? What the calculator does, or if the claim that you're claiming for your reinvestment is higher than the fresh capital that you're putting in, then it takes out from the profit that you've taken from withdrawing, which means that the first month I put in $200 to claim my interest on that 21-day period, but every month after that, I don't have to put in fresh capital, say from my own bank account or from another area outside of Elepphant money. All the money that I claim to reinvest from here, the money that's claimed there, if it's more than $200, then I don't put any fresh capital in. It's coming out from my profits from the futures. If what I'm claiming is less than $200, then fresh capital will go in and will count towards my fresh capital total. But at this point in time, right here, because I have $30,000 in my balance, then I'm earning more than $200 every time I have claimed to reinvest, which is 50% of my profits from that 7-day claim. I hope that makes sense. Now, my profits reinvested, $39,000 over 2 years. My realized gains is $39,836 over the 24 to 48 month period. My balance growth is 5.48x, which is now $80,000 as opposed to $30,000. And my end monthly interest is $27,403. It's $27,403. Now you must be wondering, but I'm getting an interest of $27,400 per month, and all I'm wanting is $3,000 per month. Well, you've got to understand that this $27,000, most of that, majority of that, is going back into the BUSD futures because I've chosen 21-day interest. So for 21 days, majority of that interest is going to go back into the contract when I put my fresh deposit in, and then I'm only claiming what's left during that 7-day period. So what's left during that 7-day period is 50% of that claim is more than $3,000, as you can see here. I will retire according to what I need after 47 months. So after 47 months, I will have enough money, which is 50% of my profit, which will go towards obviously my living expenses, and then 50% of that will go back, reinvested back into the protocol. Now quickly, down here we have the 48-month term results. Total balance of $180,000 over after 4 years from a $1,000 deposit, $5,346 total fresh capital, and add on that $200. We have total fresh capital of $6,546. We have realized gains over 4 years, $45,000. Unrealized gains, which went back into the protocol, $45,000. And our ROI we've taken out is 7x our current, or 7x our total investment, which was $6,500. So $6,500, and we've 7x'd our investment that we've actually taken in profit. We've now got $180,000 in the balance of BUSD futures, which is giving us enough, if we choose 50-50 claim and profit, which is giving us enough to live off in our current situation. Now, if you want to experiment, you can experiment like a 75% profit, 25% claim for invest. Obviously, you're going to retire a lot earlier because you're taking 75% of that 7-day profit that you're claiming at the end of that period. So you can do it that way. You can take more profits. You will obviously earn more money, realized gains, 51,000, and your realized ROI is going to be higher as well. You can even do 24 and 4, so 24 days of interest, which is going to give you a lot more into your BUSD futures redeposited, and 4-day claim period. that makes your end total balance 273,000 as opposed to 180,000 prior to that. So experiment as much as you want. We can do that same here, 24 and 4, and then we have 419,000. So if you want to live really frugally for 4 years and only take 4 days claim profit every 28 days for 4 years, then you're going to be earning a hell of a lot of money per month. So your monthly interest is now $63,000. Of course, you're only going to take your 4 days worth of that interest every 28 days. So let's have a look at how much we can budget for on this. If we put in $1,000 and every 24 days we reinvest with a fresh deposit of $400, and every 4 days after that reinvest, we claim that and we split that 50-50. And then for the last 2 years, we do exactly the same thing, except it's a $200 fresh deposit and it only uses what we're claiming out of BUSD futures. It doesn't use fresh capital from our own accounts somewhere else. So there's $5,000. That will work. What was the Detroit budget? $7,000. So $7,000, not quite there yet. So if we use the strategy, $1,000 deposit, $400 every 24 days, $400 every 28 days for the first 2 years, and then $200 every 28 days for the second 2 years, we're just short of what we need. So what we can do is we can just see what happens if I put $1,500 in, and there you go. Exactly 48 months, you'll be retired with enough money oh, it was Dallas, Texas. It was Dallas, Texas, right? Dallas, Texas, and we now have enough money to retire on. So in Munich, Germany, it was I think it was in euro, but I think the US version or the US dollars version was about $8,500. So if you want to retire comfortably in Munich, Germany, you're going to need about $8,500 USD, and that is just not quite enough. So what we might have to do here is we'll try $500 for the first 2 years, $500 every month for the first 2 years. Almost there. And then we're going to start with $2,000 investment, and there you go. So $2,000 upfront deposit, $500 every month for the first 2 years, and then $200 every month for the next 2 years. You're going to have enough money to live comfortably for the city of Munich in Germany. You could always do this around the other way. You could always go, look, I have $5,000 now, but I don't have much money in the future, so let's go $250. And so there you go. Let's do 21 and 7. 21 and 7. So that's miles off. So if we do $5,000 and we only do $200 minimum deposit every 28 days, we're quite a ways short. So then we need to change that to 24 and 4. 24 and 4, and we get there, so after 47 months. So you're not going to be taking a huge amount of profits. We've got almost 8,000 USD in the first 2 years, and then 100,000 in the second 2 years. So that's plenty enough. I mean, that's at 75, 25. So if we take that down to 50, so that's not enough. So there you go. So for that to work out, we need to be taking 75% profit and reinvesting 25%. And you're still ending up with a balance of $633,000. Now, like I said, remember that there are adaptive rates added to this. So if your balance and your compounding gets quite high, then adaptive rates will come in and reduce your daily rate. That is definitely burnt into the calculator. So you'll find these calculations should be pretty accurate. Again, make sure you check out NUMBEO.com to check out your circumstances, find out your monthly budget you require. Mine is $3,000. I'm going to do this, $3,000. I'm going to do 50-50, and I'm going to do 21 and 7. So all I need is $3,000 per month, and I'm going to do $200 per month reinvestment and start with $1,500. And then maybe for the last 2 years, we'll go 24 and 4. And then 75, 25, and that gets me there. So that will be my strategy. Probably an initial deposit of $1,500, putting the minimum $200 in every 28 days. And then again for the second 2 years, 24-day interest, 4-day claim, putting in $200 minimum deposit. And at the end of that 4 years, we have the budget to comfortably retire. Now, again, don't forget to continue to bring in other revenue streams, because this is not a foolproof system. This is just one big experiment, like the Elephant Money team has said. So do not use this as your only form of potential passive income. Always find out other ways to make income. That is my Elephant Money calculator retirement plan. Again, the link to all these things are in the description below, so make sure you check out those. Make a copy of this calculator if you do want to use it, so you can enter those details. So there you have it, a comprehensive look at Elephant Money futures and how, with a realistic budget over a period of time, could quite literally help you retire from interest earned alone and continue to grow your balance month on month. The links to everything discussed in this video can be found in the description below. Remember to like this video if you found it helpful, and leave any questions or comments below, or head over to my Telegram group for further discussions. Thanks guys for watching, and as always, stay safe and love each other. Cheers guys, bye for now.